What's up, Mythic Crew? Welcome back. In the last video, we bought the cheapest running Evo X in the country.
At only $5,000.
Not running very well. It had an engine knock. So after a little bit more research, we found out it had a spun rod bearing. So now in this video, we're going to finish dropping the subframe and dropping the engine so that we can get it out of the car, get it apart, and start rebuilding it. Let's get to it.
So to start off, we had some really stuck axle nuts. I took the cotter pin out, put the tire on, dropped the wheel, and now we can get some traction and put a board in it and get this really tough axle nut released by using our jack handle on the end of our breaker bar.
So I've just hammered down the tie rod end. We're gonna remove this, then we're going to remove the lower ball joint. And we've already got the axle nut, so we can pull out the axle and loosen this strut and push it off to the side. After we've released those, all we have to do is start dropping the lower subframe. Well, sorry for any of the fan noise in the background, but let me tell you, I definitely can't be doing this without a fan. We're definitely gonna need new tie rod ends, new ball joints. Now for this lower bolt to release the ball joint, you have to take it all the way out because the stud on the ball joint has a relief for this bolt. So even when it's loose, it won't come out unless you take it all the way out. Pull out the axle shaft so you can see the end of the axle there. I usually like to grab my pickle fork and put it up against this and give it a couple taps to try to push it out instead of pulling really hard on everything. And that released the axle shaft from the transmission. First, we took off this rear bracket on the bottom of the subframe, which goes right there. And then we released both the return and the feed power steering line from the rack. We took off the trans mount right here. Lastly, we have to take out the bolt to release the steering column from the steering rack. Then we can take out all the bolts and we can drop the subframe and start working on getting the engine and trans out of the car. So before we undo the bolt and drop the rack, I'm gonna take this red permanent marker. Now I've drawn a line so that when we go to put it back together, we can line up the steering column and the steering rack, that rod, so that we can make sure we have everything straight. And we have the 12 millimeter steering rack bolt out. Yep, it started moving. We're good. Holy. Whew. That is some sort of workout, boys. Yeah. Wow.
Now we just take that classic moment to stare at the bottom of the car and contemplate life before we do the other two.
Subframe is disconnected. Whoa. All right, super excited that we just got the subframe out. Everything went pretty good. We didn't break anything or bend anything. The only unfortunate thing that did end up happening, rod for the steering column came all the way out from the top instead of coming apart where we took the bolt out. And that means that we do not have our alignment mark. All right, everybody, we've unhooked the oil cooler lines. We unhooked the AC compressor lines, everything up on the front end up here. All around the back, double checked everything. So all that's left is this motor mount and that trans mount. So we have two jacks under here with wood, one under the transaxle and then one under the engine and transmission. All right, that is all the trans mount bolts off. That side should be free. Now I'm gonna check where we're at because I think we're leaning forward. Whoa! Okay. Fell and scared me a little bit. I thought we made some collision, but looking like we're good. It's still floating. Whoa! I think we're still okay. Wish I would have had a second person so we could control both the jacks at the same time. That's what's really messing me up here and giving me the wobbles. What I can say is that the engine is out, so that's a big accomplishment. We're also not sitting on the exhaust, so that's good. All right, everybody, huge progress. We are only the second weekend in of owning the Evo, and we now have the engine out of the car. So it is dropped down, it is on the floor, nothing is connected to it. All right, everybody, so we've only owned the Evo for 2 weeks now, and today we took out the subframe and we finally dropped the engine. It's on the ground right now. Tomorrow we're going to go get a wooden cart with the little wheels on it. We're gonna put the engine on that, roll it out to the side, and we're gonna start taking all the accessories off and take the engine apart. So if you're liking the series, please like, subscribe, stay tuned for the next episode when we get this engine apart. But for now, we got the engine out of the Evo. I'm super excited, and I'll see y'all in the next one.